Good morning, students. So, in the light reaction, we have completed the cyclic photophosphorylation. So, now we have to discuss regarding the non-cyclic photophosphorylation. So, in non-cyclic photophosphorylation, as the electrons which are moving from the photosystems, they will not reach back to the same photosystem. So, that is the reason we call that as a non-cyclic. So, where does they go? How does they move? So that we'll discuss in non-cyclic. Okay. So few introductory points we have discussed in the last class. So now the photosystem 2, which is P680. So here, when you take the photosystem 2, that is this is the light harvesting center. So the light harvesting center LHC. So this is photosystem 2. So here in the photosystem 2, that is P680, if you take. Now the electrons which are present here. So listen, whatever the light which falls first on, which is falling on the photosystem 2, that is P680. So you already know that the electrons from the chlorophyll A, first it will be the light photons are accepted by, they are accepted by the they are accepted by the antenna, which is nothing but the axillary proteins. So axillary pigments. So these axillary pigments, in turn they will transfer the electrons to they will transfer these light to the chlorophyll A. So this is all we have discussed about the light harvesting complex. Then it moves to the excited state. Okay, so this is called excitation. When it is absorbed, when the light is absorbed by the pigments, it gets excited, and in that process the electrons will eject out from the orbital to the higher energy levels. That means from higher to the higher state. So as the electrons are moving to the higher energy states from one orbital to the other orbital, they are accepted by different electron acceptors, just like in the cyclic photophosphorylation. Okay, right. Now, how the movement? The electrons are first accepted by the pheophytin. pH stands for pheophytin. The primary electron acceptor. The primary electron acceptor in the non-cyclic is pheophytin. So this is the primary electron acceptor. Okay. Now, here in the pheophytin, the electrons will move to plastoquinone, PQ. So this is also similar to cyclic. So first the one electron will accept by the plastoquinone. Next, when it accepts electrons, it becomes PQH2. It reduces to PQH2, plastoquinol, quinone to quinol. Again, when it loses its electrons, it becomes a plastoquinone. So this is one quinone cycle. See, electrons when it accepts, quinone to quinol. This is called quinol, plastoquinol. So plastoquinone, PQ stands for plastoquinone. Plastoquinone to plastoquinol. So, from this, they are moving. The electrons will accept. So here how many, for one electron, one quinone cycle, two electrons, two quinone cycles. So here two quinone cycles takes place, thereby the electrons will reach to cytochrome B6F complex. Cytochrome B6F. CYT stands for cytochrome B6F. Here, as in the cyclic photophosphorylation, from the stroma, this is outside, from the stroma into the lumen, two protons will come. The two protons will move when the electrons, because this is a proton carrier. So when the electrons are passing from the cytochrome B6F, the two protons will move from the stroma. This is from the stroma side. From the stroma, it moves into the lumen. So this is lumen side. They move. And then the two electrons will accept by plastocyanin. PC stands for plastocyanin. PC stands for plastocyanin, and then from PC the electrons will move to, so here I think you can skip all these things for the space. So here if you see, from the PC plastocyanin, they move to photosystem 1, that is P700. So electrons from photosystem 2 are reached, whose electrons? The photosystem 2 electrons are moving to photosystem 1. Okay. Now the electrons here, once it accepts, it gets excited. So excited state. Even though continuously this process taking, here also the light falls on the photosystem, and when the light falls on the photosystem 1, here also the electrons will get excited. So these electrons will be accepted, and also its own electrons also can be moved to the primary electron acceptor. So here if you see, in the primary electron acceptor, what it is moving, the two electrons are first accepted. So here this is just like in the cyclic ferredoxin. FD stands for ferredoxin, and it's an iron sulfur protein. Ferredoxin is an iron sulfur protein. Remember, iron sulfur protein, ferredoxin. So the two electrons from the ferredoxin, they are accepted by they are accepted by NADP, which is present in the stroma. So it takes 2 electrons and 2 protons. So this takes 2 electrons, and from the stroma it takes 2 protons to convert into NADPH2, to form into NADPH and H plus. You can write like this. So NADPH and H plus, it is getting reduced to NAD plus takes 2 electrons and 2 protons from the stroma, and then it gets reduced to NADPH and H plus. So therefore, here if you see, one NAD molecule is forming in the non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Okay, so one NAD molecule is formed in the non-cyclic photophosphorylation, and still, if you see, now the electrons are lost by the photosystem 2. So photosystem 2 is lose its 2 electrons, that is reaching finally to the NADPH and H plus. Okay. So who will compensate these electrons? See, this is moving in this direction upstream. So this is called uphill, downhill, uphill, downhill. So it is just like a Z shape. That is why this is called as a Z scheme. This pathway is called as a Z scheme because it is a Z shape due to the uphill and downhill. This is downhill, this is uphill. That is the reason we call this as the Z scheme. Now the last electrons from this are compensated by because this is inside the lumen, because this is lumen, I am telling, already 2 protons are present. The water will split. So when water splits here, what happens? It will form the protons, 2 protons, 2 electrons, and oxygen. So therefore, these 2 protons add, the 2 electrons will go to chlorophyll A. So it donates. Water is donating 2 electrons which are lost by the photosystem 2, and 2 protons will will be present in the lumen. So it will add totally 4 protons. So total protons will be 4 protons. So these 4 protons can able to generate 2 ATPs when they go back into the stroma. So 2 ADP and inorganic phosphate will form 2 ATPs. So 2 adenosine diphosphate and 2 inorganic phosphate will form 2 ATPs. That means, what is the energy which is formed in the non-cyclic 2 ATPs and 1 NADPH and H plus is the energy which is synthesized. So the last electrons are compensated by the water, which is called photolysis. So this is called photolysis. Note down, photolysis, splitting of water. This complex is called oxygen evolving complex. So this is present towards which side? Lumen side. And this is called OEC or OEC. What is the full form of OEC? Oxygen evolving complex. Oxygen evolving complex. So this oxygen evolving complex photolysis, this will generate the protons and electrons. So now the electrons are compensated here, protons are added to the lumen. Okay, right. So now, like that, the electrons are passing, those electrons will move to this. When these electrons are passing continuously, they reach to this and they continue this. So whatever the electrons are there, that will reach to NADP. Okay, right. So here you cannot see cyclic takes place because this is reaching to NADPH. So what is the enzyme here? NADP reductase. The enzyme which reduces the NADP plus NH plus to NADPH and H plus, that is nothing but here NADP reductase and photosystem 2 both are involved in the non-cyclic electron transport chain. Okay, right. So here the oxygen evolving complex involves manganese, calcium and chlorine ions. Remember, OEC involves manganese, note down, manganese followed by calcium and chlorine ions along with few proteins. Oxygen evolving complex involves manganese, calcium, chlorine and few proteins. Okay, right. So this is with regarding to non-cyclic. So what is happened in the non-cyclic here? It is totally the energy which is formed, that is NADP is formed toward the stroma side, and later the protons, when they are moving, for every 2 protons 1 ATP. That's the calculation. For every 2 photons 2 electrons, 2 electrons 2 protons, 2 protons 2 ATPs. Sorry, 2 protons 1 ATP. So here 4 protons 2 ATPs. Okay, right. So this, how these ATPs are getting formed, that is how I told you we will discuss in the chemiosmotic hypothesis. Okay, so chemiosmotic hypothesis, how we can, what we study is nothing but how we can generate this ATPs with the protons. 4 protons, why it gives 2 ATPs, that we'll study here. Okay, so keep the heading chemiosmotic hypothesis or photophosphorylation. Chemiosmotic hypothesis on photophosphorylation. So hope you understood this non-cyclic. Any doubts are there, we can clarify in the doubt session. Chemiosmotic hypothesis. Or we call this as photophosphorylation. Photophosphorylation, chemiosmotic hypothesis or photophosphorylation. So here if you take the light, what is this photophosphorylation? Light driven production of ATP that means light is driving for the production of ATP by the chloroplast. Light driven production of ATP by the chloroplast, we call it as a photophosphorylation. So this, how it is, how the light can able to synthesize the ATP. Peter Mitchell in 1961 he stated that a proton gradient is driving a proton gradient which is H plus concentration. A proton gradient, this is H plus concentration, is driving, is the driving force for ATP synthesis. Is the driving force for ATP synthesis in chloroplast and mitochondria. In chloroplast and mitochondria. Okay, right. So, when lumen concentration of protons here, when inside the lumen, I told you protons are present. So that protons which are coming from the stroma only, that is called as a lumen concentration. So when lumen concentration of protons H plus. So these protons are many times greater than greater than stroma. In that case, so that means they are accumulating continuously. The photons and electrons are releasing. The protons will accumulate into this. So, leading to proton concentration gradient, and try to move into stroma and try to move into stroma. So again they go back into the stroma and to balance the concentration gradient. So therefore, but when it is moving, the thylakoid membrane is impermeable to protons. The thylakoid membrane is impermeable to protons. The thylakoid membrane is impermeable to protons. So therefore a coupling factor or ATP synthase complex allows protons to move into stroma. So, ATP synthase complex or coupling factor. We call it as coupling factor. ATP synthase or coupling factor. This will allow protons. This will allow protons to move into stroma. Okay. So, what is this ATP synthase complex? The ATP synthase or coupling factor allows the protons to move into the stroma. So, this complex is having CF0 and CF1. The coupling factor called as CF. CF is nothing but the coupling factor. The coupling factor, which is and CF1, CF0 and CF1, hydrophobic and hydrophilic. Hydrophobic and hydrophilic. Okay. So CF0, which is stalk, and this is head. This is called as stalk and this is called as head. Stalk and head. So this is the proton channel embedded in the membrane. So CF0 is a proton channel that is present in the thylakoid membrane. Okay. So CF0 is the proton channel which passes proton channel which passes the protons channel. That means this will pass the protons. Which passes the protons and embedded in a membrane. And embedded in the membrane. Whereas CF1 is the synthesis ATP. This will synthesis ATP, which is a catalytic site. Synthesis ATP, which is a catalytic site. Protrudes on the outer surface